Welcome to the Butterfly Effect Studio. I'm your host, Christian Rebenek. As you know, based in the chaos theory, small changes can have a big impact. The goal of the session is to uncover how leaders and change makers develop their purpose, competencies, and community to achieve their great positive impact. Every of the episodes is packed full of ideas you can apply to your own life. In this conversation, I speak to Eilecia Bovard, Climate Pact Ambassador, founder of The Perfect Farm, and student at Tomorrow University of Applied Sciences, as well as Niklas Bøe, who's an automation engineer from a background, now also founded The Perfect Farm together with Eilecia. And it's really amazing to have both of you as Tomorrow University students, especially here in the studio to share your experiences. Welcome.
Thank you, Christian. Thank you, Niklas. It's so nice to be here with you today.
So I'm really excited about this discussion. And maybe to start off, you both now founded Perfect Farm. And I think, maybe you can share a little bit more about what this is about. What's your mission? Why are you doing this?
Yes, I'll start. So the Perfect Farm is basically an emissions reduction service provider and sustainable investment platform. Another way to describe that is we are the bridge builder between EU livestock farmers and the service providers that they need to reduce their emissions. So climate mitigation efforts and sustainable investment or climate financing, we build the bridge for them to make that happen more efficiently and more effectively.
Amazing. So tell, Eilecia, maybe you want to continue and tell us a little bit more. Why did you start this? How did you come to that idea?
Well, this is something that came about during our time studying, and we're still studying, by the way, at the Tomorrow University. It was an amazing assignment where we had to identify a gap in the market related to food systems. And we realized that the EU livestock farming community was going to be facing a new directive called the Industrial Emissions Directive. Mm-hmm. And we understand, as we've seen in the news, the farmers are really having a hard time with some of these top-down directives and policies. So we thought this is a great opportunity to help them to make this transition in a way that's fair and just. So we started doing this as an assignment in the university, and somehow it has snowballed into our most recent passion and project, which is The Perfect Farm.
Amazing. Eilecia, how about you? What is your purpose now? What are you pursuing every day? What makes you literally get motivated every day to work on this?
I would say first and foremost, people. Finding a way to connect to people in a meaningful way. That was actually part of the motivation for the Perfect Farm project as well, is finding a way to connect, to understand, and then based on that connection and understanding, finding a way to unite. And unite around, let's say, a joint effort to realize a shared goal. So this is something that is giving me purpose and drive every day. And this is something that I find in what we're currently working on together, Niklas and I, is this connection, unity, and drive for positive change.
And if I see this correctly, this is your first company you are now creating and setting up. How did you make that decision actually to, this kind of decision process to say, hey, yes, we are really doing this. We really believe in this.
I think first and foremost is connecting with farmers and understanding that there is a real need and realizing that this isn't something that is separate from what we experience every day in our lives. Some people ask me, well, you're not a farmer. You've never worked in agriculture. And my response is, that's true. However, farmers are a part of my life and have been since probably the day I was born. If we think about what unites us around the table, it's food and what has a great memory in our life. It's usually connected to food and events where we have shared foods in our life. So if we think about where those foods come from and who played a role in producing those foods on our table around those shared events and positive memories, it's the farmer. The farmer is the one that has brought all of this into our life. So for me, I feel that there's always been a connection to the farming community.
And it unites us. I love that. Thank you very much. So talking about this starting now a company and maybe looking also at your own life, what are the things, the competencies which helped you most to get you to where you are today? What are the important skills? What are the important things? And you mentioned already about actually talking a lot to customers potentially, but maybe you can share a little bit more of what you think is really important today.
For me, it has been about developing my skills as a good listener. I think when we have the capacity to listen not only well, but deeply, then we have the capacity to connect in a more meaningful way. And as I said, connection has been a very important part of my life and also part of this project. So developing this competency of being a good and active listener has been something that has served me well and continues to as we move forward.
How about you, Niklas? You're CTO of Perfect Farm.
For me, it has been to build confidence in my own ideas and to explore my curiosity and maybe feel that whatever I do will have an impact. I want to be a part of the solution and not the problem. I don't have a really big plan about what I will do when I grow up. I just know that I want to be a part of something that will be making an impact for our next generation.
What do you value each other actually from a competence perspective about the other most? To start.
For Niklas, what I appreciate about the way he thinks and the way he works is he tends to have a very broad perspective. I tend to go very small and micro, and he tends to go very expansive. And I like that whenever we speak about the challenges that we're trying to address, he's always bringing that into the conversation. And I'm focusing on the nitty gritty, and he's focusing on the big picture. And I think this is where we really complement each other. Also, he's a very calm person. So I trust his thinking. He's not usually going to come from a very emotional place when he's making decisions and speaking. And so that I respect and appreciate as well.
And how about you, Niklas?
Thank you, Eilecia. That was very kind. I do think you are very creative and you are able to put in a lot of ideas and just test them out. And with that dynamic, it's also possible to just shut some of them down and just continue working on the cool ones. And then you are very confident in what you do, and you're a great speaker. You're great with words. You're great at communicating what our idea is and put some words on it so everyone can understand what it is. So I feel we have a great dynamic in Perfect Farm.
Amazing. Amazing. Thank you very much. And you have both the skills to appreciate each other. Additionally, really great. What are the habits which help you currently in your life the most? So what are the habits you have built, the automations, not just maybe talking about here rituals, but also about what is really your automated reactions to certain things, which make you successful today? And maybe Eilecia, start.
Go ahead, Niklas. I think you wanted to start.
Yeah, I think bringing in some positivity in our mindset is very important. Like there are challenges every day and there are decisions to be made and there are several things that can go wrong. Mm-hmm. And you just have to try to bring in some positivity and just do what makes you feel good and gives you enthusiasm.
Yes, and for me, I'll add to that. I think always asking an open question has been a ritual that I have. So whatever is coming up, to ask a broader question. In addition to that, it's not always possible, but I always try my best to accommodate simultaneous realities. So try not to always speak or come from my own reality, but understanding the realities of another, whether that's my co-founder Niklas, or the farmers that we are talking to, or the solutions providers, or the sustainable investors. It's really trying to understand where everyone is coming from so that we can create cohesion and harmony in our pursuits.
And talking a little bit more about the university and what you have learned and what has helped you. From looking back so far, what are the things which has helped you in your decision-making process or in actually building now a perfect farm so far?
Wow.
Eilecia. Yeah, Niklas, please.
No, I'm just thinking about the last 9 months. We have done so many things, so many challenges that you really don't want to stop working on, because when the challenge is done, you are actually into some kind of flow where you want to keep on moving on that challenge. And yeah, maybe you want to say something, Eilecia?
Yes, well, I'm a big fan of the university, which I think you know, Christian, but if you don't know, you're going to find out now. I think what is amazing about what we've done to date is that this is a co-creative learning process. And I usually say this is a learning process created by you and for you. So the Perfect Farmer is a great example of that. And I'm sorry that we keep referring back to that, but that is what it is. It started as an assignment that was inspired within the university. And what the following assignments have allowed us to do is to go deeper into that topic and subject. So it really has facilitated us to develop more deeply what it is that we're seeking to address and how viable is it in the market. So for me, the learning experience has been extremely valuable. It's real world applicable. We're not talking about theory. We're actually practice-based, which is something that I extremely value from this. We can go right out into the real world and begin to apply what it is that we are learning and find out if this is going to work out or not. So for me, this has been really the major takeaway from the learning experience at Tamar University.
So I think that you, just a few years ago, how is it possible to have this experience after just 2-3 years? It's incredible. And I feel this was the experience last time I studied. I would have paid more interest. I would have been more engaged and showed more enthusiasm for my work at school. So I think it's great. It's fantastic.
Thank you very much. To be honest, looking back at my studies, it's the same for me. I would have loved to have a little bit more focus on something which is relevant and I believe in, I can study on that. So this resonates what you're saying totally with me, because I think also this kind of learning like on something you do, which you care about, and then growing your competence based on that helps you to understand things way better. Tell me a little bit more about because you haven't done this alone. You mentioned already you exchanged together a lot. You came together to the decision to do this. Tell me a little bit more about also the relevance for your network, the people around you who have helped you eventually today.
For me, in particular, one of the reasons to join this university was to join a like-minded community. And it's also why I joined other circles, other communities, such as the Climate Pact Ambassadorship or various United Nations projects. For me, this is all about community. In order to realize any change or to build something or to, let's say, from my perspective, redesign and redefine who I am professionally, I need a community there to support me and to connect with, and that has similar thinking. And that is something that the university itself has provided. And I think that our collaboration is a result of that community. We're like-minded. We share the same interest and the same passion to do something positive. And so it was a natural fit that we came together in that scenario.
How about you, Niklas?
I felt like you could ask anybody to help. Like Thomas, your co-founder, helped us a lot. We have talked about Thomas. And he also has this ability to make you feel calm and safe. And like Thomas is taking care of you. It's okay.
Very exciting. Looking back, maybe when you started, maybe before, which advice would you give yourself, or which maybe other way around? If you look at people which are younger and starting before they start to study, which advice would you give them today?
I would say to myself, don't think about everything that can go wrong. It's going to be okay.
Mm-hmm. And how about you, Eilecia?
I would say trust the process, trust yourself, trust your intuition of where you feel you want to go. I think oftentimes we are faced with maybe ego decisions. Maybe this experience or this person or this university doesn't meet what society is telling me it should or what my peers are telling me it should. But if you find that it resonates with who you are and where you're seeking to go, then have the confidence to run with that and pursue that. And for me, when I found, let's use the university as an example, I recognize the value in the 3 pillars of the master's program: sustainability, entrepreneurship, and technology. I understood fully that these 3 in collaboration together are what is needed to realize the change that we need in the world now and going into the future. But it was not as well known in the university. And this requires having some faith and confidence in my decisions and knowing, okay, that this is aligned with me. This is aligned with what I want to do. Excuse me, and the values that I have as a learner and out into the world. So yeah, trust that confidence, trust that intuition that you have and follow that. And if you follow that, I think you will, in most cases, be okay, come out okay on the other end.
How do you build that confidence into yourself?
That's I think a lot of trial and error. I think first, as Niklas mentioned, this activity where you find out what your real values are that you have in the beginning of the university program is something that not enough people take the time to figure out. Who am I? What do I value? What is important to me? And when you take the time to begin to answer those questions, then you begin to make decisions that are more aligned with who you are and what you value. And this gives you the confidence. As you make more decisions that are more aligned with who you are and your value system, then the more fulfilling and successful perhaps pursuits and steps you take.
Just looking at Niklas, anything to add from your perspective here? So tomorrow we have this philosophy first, always about talking about the purpose. And as you mentioned, it's so important to know why you do the certain things you do, what do you care about, what matters. And I think the more you do, the more confident you will be in your own purpose. And that will also accelerate your impact. But then again, it comes to the competencies and also to community to make things really happening on a bigger scale. Maybe jumping back to Perfect Farm, because I think it's really an amazing project to see and it's truly meaningful. What do you, let's say, if you have a vision in 5 years, what do you want to have accomplished with Perfect Farms in 5 years? We will interview you again in 5 years.
I like that. I like to think about a future back approach. I actually do this with all of my goal setting. Who do I want to be, and then looking back, what do I need to do to get there? And it's the same with Perfect Farm. Well, I think in 5 years' time, we will have many farmers, 165,000 to be exact, within the European Union, that will need to make this transition to emissions reductions. So our goal is to try to help as many of them as possible to do this as well as possible, to put the solutions in their hands as effectively as possible, and also to provide them with the financing opportunities so that they can actually make it happen in a fair way. And then in addition to that, hopefully the climate market, the voluntary carbon market will be something that will be more viable and more trusted. And this is something that we really envision the farmers participating in to help them offset any possible income loss due to production reduction, due to emissions reductions. So do we have specific numbers? I'm not so sure, but maybe Niklas has some ideas. But ultimately, it's helping as many as we can to make this transition in a fair and just way.
It's not something that you could put all the responsibility on the farmers. It's a collaboration between the farmers, between the government, and also for us as consumers. We need to be to pay enough for being possible to
Eilecia, Niklas, you're doing this together from different countries. I mean, for me, this is always very impressive. Now, here's a remote first university. Obviously, all learners are actually connecting on a global level, but it's really great to see that you're doing this currently. And Eilecia, you're in Spain currently based. Niklas, you're in Norway based. Maybe also for potential other founders or team people which are listening now, which maybe consider actually collaborating about this kind of remote setup. Why did you choose for that actually to start to work together? Wasn't this what was on your mind on that? And how do you make that work from your perspective, or how does it work?
I think we didn't think about it. I think it just happened. And when you're already in a remote setting, such as with the university, it feels natural. Like, okay, this is our reality. This is how we do things. This is how we're learning. This is how we're connecting. So why wouldn't it naturally flow into the founder experience as well? I think one of the ways that we handle this in a great way is we communicate regularly. So we're always communicating on Slack. If we see something that inspires us or we think is relevant to our project, we bring it in and we talk about it either via Messenger, or we say, this is really important, we need to have a phone call. We try to bring each other in on the meetings that we have with different solutions providers or farmers. And if we can't participate together, then we have summaries that we share. So we're really great at communication. And it all comes down to that really good communication. If there's a misunderstanding, we also agreed to always have a very open way of speaking without any hindrances, so that we can feel we can communicate freely and openly as needed. Is there something you'd like to add to that, Niklas?
Yeah, we have a rule that it's okay to say whatever. But just don't be afraid to say anything, and then it's much easier to don't be afraid to write something wrong or hurting someone's feelings. Then if you don't think it's a good idea, then say it. Also, it's been this kind of flow stuff this last summer. We brought it into the different challenges of this degree. And it's also a plan to use this as our master thesis at the start. So it's kind of been very natural to keep this flow running and just don't stop it because it's fun.
It's amazing that this is becoming possible. Actually, you start a company, literally collaborating from anywhere in the world, even having customer interviews from anywhere in the world, and doing this together. And I think this kind of competence which you need to have on communication is really important and on collaboration and this kind of level of openness you mentioned. Maybe one more sentence about talking about others and role models. Who inspires you? Do you have role models where you say, hey, that's something which inspires me eventually every day? Eilecia, maybe you want to start.
I can't think of any specific names off the top of my head. I think what inspires me is seeing people that are living their life according to their plan, living life according to what they value, what they feel is important, and living life according to how they design it. And we see this in examples in our university. We also see it out in the world, especially when we're talking about the topic of sustainability. Some of these fields require real leaders, people who take the first steps or first movers. Even from the farmer's perspective, these people who are the ones to take those first steps are the ones that inspire me. Even though the future is unknown, the risks are high. So if there's someone specific, I can't say it's a name, but more just people taking brave steps, having the courage to do it.
How about you, Niklas?
I think maybe sometimes details and just a little thing I think is really inspiring. It doesn't have to think about that all the time. It could be like a cup of coffee that looks really great. And I feel inspired to making a cup of coffee that's kind of flower inside. It's small details that I really like.
That's very inspiring for me too. Also because you're demonstrating actually, you by actually creating Perfect Farm already inspire others from my perspective, which is very exciting. If you look now, you're studying master program in sustainability, entrepreneurship, and technology. But we have a lot of other students who are following your path. Yeah. Is there anything else you would like to share with other learners here tomorrow?
Connect. That's the theme of today. Connect, make the effort, show up, connect to your other learners, connect to your community, connect to communities that are working on and passionate about what you're doing. You will need that support. You will need people that believe in you, that question you, that are aligned with you. So connect, and try to connect in as meaningful of a way as possible.
Niklas, what do you think?
You can frame your own tasks sometimes. I would bring in tasks that really get your enthusiasm and bring in some fun. It's okay. It's not like you have a big small box that you have to do all these challenges and tasks. It's up to you to find out what you're really passionate about and write an assignment about that.
Yes.
Thank
Can
you.
I add one thing to that?
Yeah, absolutely.
I would also suggest to not be afraid to ask the hard questions. Ask the hard question, ask the big question, and give yourself permission to move forward on that question. Because I think often we put ourselves, and I like the way Niklas shaped that into a small box. When we're talking about making a difference in the world or being change makers, this requires us to step out of our comfort zone. It requires us to step out of our small box that we live in and participate in, and to take big strides forward. Those confident, brave, courageous strides. So don't be afraid to ask the hard questions, and don't be afraid to move forward on what you find out from those hard questions.
Very, very nice last words. The magic happens outside of your comfort zone quite often. And this is what we're trying to also build with Tomorrow University and all our degree programs, help our students to develop their purpose, develop their competencies by bringing them out of their comfort zone eventually, but also build a community, connect to really have an impactful career potentially. Eilecia, Niklas, it was amazing to have you in the Butterfly Effect studio. As mentioned at the beginning, the chaos theory, it tells us that even the smaller things can have a huge impact eventually. I wish the same things to both of you, actually, that with Perfect Farm, you make your vision a reality. We will be watching closely and maybe have you with your progress again one part of time in the Butterfly Effect studio. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Christian. Thank you, Niklas.